Hello, my royal lovelies. Welcome back to the channel and of course, welcome to my home. Today, I want to talk about an upcoming BBC documentary following the coronation year. And there has been some revelations already come out of it that I wanted to address pertaining to Her late Majesty's passing. So, the headline reads, Queen Elizabeth II feared dying at Balmoral would make her funeral difficult. Princess Anne says she reveals that she weirdly felt a sense of relief after her mother's funeral. So first of all, on the face of it, the Queen dying at Balmoral. Now, one thing that we have learnt from The Crown, now, I don't believe everything that you see on The Crown, but the one thing that was actually accurate is the funeral preparations and plans for members of the royal family are extremely detailed, and we know, for example, they are given all different code names. The Duke of Edinburgh was, for example, was Operation Forth Bridge. That is all true and accurate. But the plans would have been put in place long before Her Majesty reached 80, as suggested in The Crown. So plans for a monarch's or a sovereign's or those high up in the royal family, plans for their passing are in place. I mean, I can imagine there's already a plan in place, for example, if Prince William, the Prince of Wales, were to pass. But extremely detailed, updated annually for the sovereign. So round about the time when the Queen was 80, the plans would have had a big overhaul, which is what we kind of was alluded to in The Crown, or rather shown in The Crown. So that's actually fairly as accurate as they possibly can be. So plans would have been put in place. Plans were in place whether the Queen died in England, at Sandringham, Balmoral, any of the major royal family homes. So plans were put in place. Now, Her late Majesty was obviously very conscientious of not making a fuss. She didn't want to make a fuss. Even after she passed away, she didn't want to be to cause more fuss than was necessary. So she must have doubted or questioned, I suppose, if she passed away at Balmoral, igniting or starting that chain of events to bring her body back down, back to London, would it be too much bother for the family and for the nation? But anyway, those plans would have been in place. So as I said, the documentary is charting King Charles's first year as monarch to be shown on BBC One. It is said that Queen Elizabeth worried that it would be difficult to organise her funeral if she died at Balmoral, Princess Anne has revealed. Well, like I say, those plans were already in place. So it wouldn't have been difficult. It just would have, obviously, we had the long journey back to London that obviously wouldn't have taken place if she had passed away in London itself. But Queen Elizabeth was persuaded by her family that she should do what felt right, according to a documentary charting Charles's first year as monarch. Now, this is going to be shown on BBC One on Boxing Day. So in the UK, Boxing Day is the day after Christmas. Featuring unseen, behind-the-scenes footage and exclusive interviews with key officials, family and senior royals. It captures the galloping pace of the last 12 months. Very important for historians to get that in the future when they come to write all of their books. They will have this as a reference point, a video reference point from those involved. So you can't get better than that. In a moving segment, Princess Anne talks about her mother's death and how she felt when she saw the imperial state crown taken off the Queen's coffin for the last time at St George's Chapel at Windsor. I rather weirdly felt a sense of relief. That's it, finished, she said. That responsibility being moved on. I think what Princess Anne is saying is that the Queen must have always felt this immense weight on her shoulders, this immense sense of duty. Now, the Queen never complained. She was never a complainer. She took that duty and she ran with it. And she did rather well with that burden. She carried it well, but again, as alluded to in The Crown, that can take a lot away from a person. If the Queen had not been the Queen, she would have likely had a completely different life, that of maybe a country woman in the English countryside with horses and maybe a farm, that sort of thing. The Princess Royal, who remained exceptionally close to the late Queen throughout her life, also said, "I think there was a moment when she felt that it would be more difficult if she died at Balmoral. I think we did try to persuade her that shouldn't be part of the decision-making process." And of course, many considered it fitting that the Queen died at Balmoral because she had such a deep love for the Scottish Highlands. I think if I go back to previous videos that I've made about the late Queen's passing, I always said that I think the Queen had a pre-existing health condition. We don't know fully what that is. I know some people have speculated it could have been bone cancer. There are all kinds of, rumours, but ultimately we don't actually know officially what it was. So speculate as much as you want. Let's just go with that she had a pre-existing health condition, which I think, her late Majesty and family thought that perhaps she wouldn't live out the rest of that year. Maybe they thought she had 6 months to live. Maybe it was a year. But they knew that her life was coming to its final conclusion. I think, obviously, the Queen traditionally spends the summer at Balmoral. It was coming up to then. There were reports from her stable hands back at Windsor saying that the Queen had visited before she left for Balmoral, and she was talking actively about what would happen on her return. So I don't think Her late Majesty thought at that time, before leaving for Balmoral for the final time, that it would be the final time. I think she thought that she would be back in Windsor after the traditional summer break, because she was talking in that frame of mind. So when it was coming up to going to Balmoral, I think that's when she must have questioned, well, hang on a minute, what if it happens when I'm there? Wouldn't it be better if I stayed at Windsor or maybe even had summer at Sandringham? And I think that's when the family would have said, no, do what feels right for you. You've always gone to Balmoral for the summer holidays. Go to Balmoral for the summer holidays. Plans are already in place if you do. We don't want you to, but if you do pass away up there, then plans are in place. So off she went. And I'm really, really pleased that she did make that decision, because it was her happy place. There were, of course, reports that she had from clergy that visited, saying that she was at peace, that she was happy, she was at peace, and she was talking in that frame of mind. So I think it was the right decision ultimately for the Queen to go to Balmoral. I also think that because, we'll get to that, what I think, in a moment, because I need to read on to make it all make sense. So, shortly before her death in September, she was visited, as I said, by Dr. Ian Greenshields, the moderator of the General Assembly of the Church of Scotland, who said afterwards that she spoke of how it gave her a great deal of peace and pleasure to be at Balmoral. Princess Anne revealed that it was pure serendipity that she was by the monarch's side when she died. So this is something that we all know, that Princess Anne was by her mother's side. But we didn't know that it was pure serendipity, pure chance that she was there, which kind of changes things a little bit. She explained that she had only stopped over at Balmoral Castle on her way back down south after spending a few days on Scotland's west coast. So, the Queen, I don't think the Queen did expect to pass away. Pre-existing health condition or not, the royal family has indicated, Princess Anne's indicated, that they did not think she was going to pass away up there when she did, because otherwise it wouldn't have been pure chance that Princess Anne happened to be at Balmoral Castle. They would have, had a call, or that they would have received some sort of information from those up at Balmoral saying, look, I think things are deteriorating. I think you need to get yourself up to the castle if you want to see her for the last time before she passes. Now, we saw that eventually happen, because we saw the mad scramble to get flights from London up to Scotland, and of course the Queen had passed away during the royals' flight up to Scotland. But if they'd had advanced warning of the Queen's passing, they could have already have been there, which indicates to me that it came on all of a sudden. That even though there was a pre-existing health condition, perhaps there was a stroke, perhaps there was a heart attack, perhaps there was some kind of full body shutdown of organs, and it just kind of struck. We know that the Queen was last photographed meeting saying goodbye to her outgoing Prime Minister, greeting the new one. That was her last photograph, where she looked frail, she looked old, but she didn't look like she was about to pass away, when she did, very, very shortly afterwards. So yes, I think it was unexpected, and I think that is what Princess Anne is alluding to. She's giving us a little bit of information that I don't think they expected it at that particular point. Otherwise, there would have been more family up there. Anne also gives her sister-in-law Camilla the royal seal of approval, and says that the support that she gave her husband, the king, is outstanding. Well, I'm glad to see members of the royal family praising Camilla publicly. The Queen, I should say now. The Queen consort. The Princess Royal said, "I've known Camilla a long time off and on. Her understanding of the role and how much difference it makes to the king has been absolutely outstanding. This role is not something that she'd be a natural for, but she does it really well." A little bit of a backhanded compliment there from Princess Anne, but nevertheless, probably quite true. I don't think that Camilla ever actually really had designs on being queen. I think she just wanted her man. I think she wanted Charles, and she accepted that what came with being with Charles was the position, the status, the duty. She provides that change of speed and tone that's equally important. Well, she has been Charles's strength and stay, for the past, how many years now? A very, very long time. Princess Anne told the documentary that despite a lifetime waiting in the wings, it was difficult for her brother to prepare himself. Completely, for the moment, he acceded to the throne. So this documentary, The Coronation Year, will be shown on Tuesday, December the 26th on BBC One at 6:50 p.m. So do not miss that. It looks like it's going to be a really, really good documentary that I think we're going to learn quite a lot from. I want to talk a little bit about Princess Charlotte. So we've seen in recent family outings how Princess Charlotte really takes control of her brothers. She sort of, steers them in the right direction, and she's been likened to Princess Anne. And I think she does have a little touch of the Princess Anne's about her. I think she's fairly confident, fairly secure in herself. And of course, it's going to be interesting over the years as a royal watcher to see how the Wales children develop, grow, and come into their own. And also, of course, what they're interested in, what they want to do sort of career-wise, perhaps before they step into royal work, into public life, I should say. So a lot of speculation with Princess Anne. What will she be when she's older? Who will she marry? All of this will unfold in time, and we certainly don't want to rush things. And we want the decisions, in particular, that Charlotte and Louis make to be the right ones for them, because they are the spares, if you like. And, we all sort of know what Prince George's destiny is going to be, what his role will be. Again, it'll be interesting to know what he does before he becomes Prince of Wales and then obviously King George. So very, very interesting, but equally as interesting for Charlotte and Louis. And one of the things that people have always been speaking about is titles and styles. So Princess Charlotte, typically the title that she would be given eventually when it becomes available is the Princess Royal. Now, currently held by Princess Anne, that title is held for life. So that title will not be vacant until Princess Anne passes away. At that point, it's assumed that Princess Charlotte will become the next Princess Royal. Now, Duchess of Edinburgh has been mooted for a while, but I've never agreed with that. I don't think that will ever be the case. I think the Dukedom of Edinburgh will potentially be reserved for Prince Louis whenever he marries, because normally a royal dukedom is given upon the occasion of a marriage. So whoever Prince Louis marries in the future, I mean, he may never marry. He may just remain Prince Louis of the United Kingdom. Who knows? But there's also been talk about whether or not the king should upgrade. Well, when we say upgrade, a dukedom is a dukedom, whether it's held for life or whether it's one that you can pass down hereditary to your successors. It's still a dukedom. It's still the same rank. But at the moment, the Dukedom of Edinburgh will revert to the crown when Prince Edward passes away. That's not the case for the Earl of Wessex title. Now, James, the eldest, well, their son, not the eldest son, he is their only son, is in line to be the Earl of Wessex when he eventually accedes to that title. But people are saying maybe the king should upgrade the Duke of Edinburgh title so that can be passed on to James. So James would be a Duke of Edinburgh and he would be Earl of Wessex as well. I'm not sure that is going to happen. I think Prince Edward and Sophie are happy with the way things are. James will not be left without a title when Prince Edward passes. And let's not forget that James Viscount Severn and Lady Louise Windsor, Prince Edward and Sophie's children, can, if they want to, assume the title of, well, the style of HRH, and they can be Prince and Princess should they want to take that on. It is their choice. It is their birthright under the George V Convention, letters patent. That is still what they are entitled to use. In the same way that Harry and Meghan just decided that they wanted to take up Archie and Lilibet's birthright under the same convention, the George V Convention. It could be done by James and Louise when they want. Of course, I think it was 18. Yes, you have to be 18 to be able to choose for yourself. Or if you're under 18, your parents, Sophie and Edward, could choose for you. So it was left to the then Wessex children to decide what they wanted to do. When Lady Louise became of age, she decided to stay and stick with the status quo and remain Lady Louise Windsor. But she's technically a princess, or rather she has the right to be a princess. So I don't see any change on the cards. I do think the Dukedom of Edinburgh is one that will revert back to the crown to be given out and redistributed, potentially to Prince Louis. I think that Prince George will get a different dukedom upon the occasion of his marriage, if indeed he does marriage, and whenever that might be, because of course all of this is pure speculation. We don't actually know what's going to happen until it happens. Right, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media. And of course, do hit that bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me, until next time, to you all, and goodbye.